It was a warm summer evening, and I couldn't imagine my world changing so dramatically. The house was bathed in the soft golden light of the setting sun, shadows dancing softly on the walls. I sat alone in the living room, my thoughts drifting away, lost in a sense of longing that had been lingering for months. My husband, Ethan, had always been kind and loving. We'd been married for 2 years now, our relationship built on trust and mutual respect, but something had changed over time. The spark, the passion that had once defined us, gradually faded. We still cared for each other, but it wasn't the same. That night, Ethan came home late and seemed unusually distant. He kissed me on the cheek, but there was no warmth in his touch. I didn't push him to talk, figuring he'd tell me when he was ready. Instead, I concentrated on making dinner, though I couldn't shake the strange tension in the air. When we sat down at the table to eat dinner, the conversation seemed forced, and Ethan seemed immersed in his own thoughts. After a while, he finally spoke, breaking the silence with an unexpected remark. "My nephew, Ryan, is coming to visit us this weekend," he said, his voice casual but with an odd undertone. "I think you'll enjoy his company." "He's different. There's a lot of energy with him." I paused, a little embarrassed by how much emphasis he put on the word different. Ryan was in his early 20s, a few years younger than Ethan, and though I'd met him a few times, we weren't close. From what I remembered, he was confident, charming, and had a magnetic personality. Still, I wasn't sure where Ethan was going with this, but I left it at that. Later that night, Ryan arrived. The atmosphere in the room changed as soon as he walked in. He had a knack for drawing attention without even trying to do so. He hugged me warmly, his hands lingering lightly on my waist. His presence was hard to ignore. In the evening, the three of us sat in the living room and talked over a glass of wine. Ethan seemed more relaxed than he had in days, but I was acutely aware of Ryan's attention gravitating toward me, his glances, his smiles, the way he leaned in when I spoke. When Ethan stepped out to answer the phone, the air in the room thickened. Ryan's eyes never took his eyes off mine, and I could feel the strange tension building between us. "You look incredible today," he said softly, his tone light yet full of intent. I smiled awkwardly, not knowing what to say, but there was something in his words that awakened a long-dormant excitement in me. Before I could say anything, Ethan returned. He looked at Ryan and me, a faint smile playing on his lips. "I see you two are getting along," he said, his voice teasing, but with a note of something else. There was no hint of jealousy in his expression, just quiet approval. He sat back down and took a sip of wine before speaking again. "Ryan's a good guy. I think you two are going to have a great time this weekend." The evening went on. The tension never dissipated, but nothing more was said. As the evening came to an end, I found myself alone in the kitchen, putting away dishes. Ethan came up behind me and put his arm around my waist. "Are you okay?" he asked quietly, his voice soft in my ear. "Yeah," I replied, though I wasn't sure how to express the anxiety I was feeling. The weekend passed in a series of random moments, long conversations, meals together, and light laughter. Ryan continued to be his charming self, but nothing inappropriate happened. However, the energy between us never disappeared. It remained like an unsolved mystery, making me wonder if there was more to Ethan's words than I had initially thought. By Sunday night, I realized that my relationship with Ethan wasn't just about rekindling a former passion. It was about understanding the unspoken dynamics of our relationship, the complexities that aren't always easy to recognize. As Ryan packed his bags to leave, I couldn't escape the feeling that this weekend had revealed something deeper about me, about Ethan, and about what it means to really get close to someone. Ethan and I watched Ryan drive away, and in the silence that ensued, I turned to my husband, searching for answers I hadn't yet had time to formulate. "What was this weekend about?" I asked quietly. Ethan smiled, and the soft warmth returned to his eyes. "I wanted you to realize that sometimes the high isn't in the unknown, but in rediscovering what you already have." I nodded, understanding in a way I hadn't before. Our relationship didn't need grand gestures or drastic changes. It needed moments like this one, a reminder of the connection that was always there, waiting for us to pay attention.